Welcome to the Manifested Podcast with Kathleen Cameron, a podcast dedicated to manifestation, law of attraction, and self-love for impact-driven entrepreneurs. My name is Tommy Collier, and I'll be your co-host, along with Kathleen Cameron, who is a rock star mom, an international best-selling author. She's an 8-figure coach, a highly sought-after speaker, teacher, trainer, and television star. Kathleen is Chief Wealth Creator, CEO, and founder of Diamond Academy, and she is the perfect guide to lead you down the path of attracting more love, more money, and more success into your life starting right now. All right, here we are with episode 5. Kathleen, how are you this week?
I am doing so good. I can't believe we're already on 5.
I know.
How did that happen?
I know.
Soon we're going to be 50. We almost said the exact same thing. We almost said that. Next thing you know, we're going to be like, it's 50. How did that happen?
Totally.
We're finishing each other's sentences, Tommy.
As we often do.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
Yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
Oh, we are talking about something that is so special to me, something I love talking about. It's my favorite topic and it's near and dear to my heart. We are going to talk about self-love and the role that it plays in manifestation.
So good. I know this is one thing, this is one of the things that you talk about that originally piqued my interest the most. So This is so powerful. So
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
This is the thing I've learned from you the most.
Oh, well, I'm so glad I get to talk about it with you today.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh. And maybe you can share even in this episode a little bit of how your journey has shifted too.
Yeah. I'm happy to. So where did your journey with self-love begin then?
Oh my gosh. You know what? For most of my life, I will say that I would have identified myself. So past version of Kathleen, when I say past version of Kathleen, I really mean prior to 36, 37 years old. So maybe 2018, 2019 is when things really started to shift for me. So past version of Kathleen was somebody who would have identified herself as somebody who was shy, self-conscious. I was very, very ashamed of my body. And in fact, I would say I probably hated it. So it's probably the right language. I don't like to use the word hate anymore, but I can say that is a feeling that I had about my body. Really, really self-conscious. I used to use that word self-conscious. I haven't actually spoken that word in a really, really long time. But I was very aware of my body. I was very aware of how different it was. And I didn't want to look that way. I think that's probably the best way to define it is I would look in the mirror and it would be oh, why do you still look like this? And being plus size was something that every single time I went somewhere, I became aware of it again. So, when you get dressed to go to a dinner or to a wedding, you're aware of it. You go to try on clothes to buy a new outfit, you become very aware of it. It was just something so when I say self-conscious, that's what I mean is that it was something that overtook my mind a lot. But I actually started my self-love journey after I lost 100 pounds, which is interesting because you would think that I would lose the 100 pounds and I would be happy, right? I lost the 100 pounds in an unhealthy way, didn't change the way I saw myself, didn't love myself anymore. The outside world was like, hey, Kathleen, you look fabulous. You're so inspiring. You did such an amazing job. Then I got sick and I gained the weight back and all the feelings of guilt and shame all came back. And it was oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here again, And now what I know is that I didn't change my identity. I didn't change how I saw myself. I was thinking that a change in my physical appearance would change the way I see myself and my identity, but it obviously really didn't, right? But I actually met a woman, and you can follow her on social media. Her name is Kayla Logan. I met her when I gained the weight back and I was at my lowest. This was just before I started studying manifestation, so I was not in the material. And she came into an event it was a social media event in a little hair salon that somebody was holding. And it was a social media event that had Sarah Nicole there, which is the Birds Papaya. So if you follow Birds Papaya, she has quite the following as well. So I had these two women in the room, Sarah Nicole and Kayla Logan. And Kayla Logan walked in and she was in a plus size body and she had purple hair and she was loud and she was energetic and she was smiling and she was happy and she had this confidence about her. And I remember after everybody was done speaking and we were mingling, I went straight to her and I wanted to know her and I wanted to talk to her. And what she did is she posed in her bra and underwear for self-love and for body positivity all over Canada, I believe at the time. She does it in the US too now. And she said to me, I said, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. That's so commemorable. Like, I'm really just in awe of you being able to do that. That's really beautiful. And she goes, well, why don't you come do it with me? And I went, no. Like nobody has ever seen my stomach. No one. Like bathing suits was very, very rare. I would wear a t-shirt over the bathing suit. So you want me to like be in my bra and panties out in public? No way. But it sat with me. And I followed her and she inspired me. And I said, you know what? I'm ready to start thinking about loving myself instead of hating myself. I think I'm going to do this with you. And I went and I did it with her. I posed in front of the CN Tower in downtown Toronto. I did it again in Niagara Falls. If you search far enough in my social media, you can find both of those photo shoots. And that was the beginning of my self-love journey, doing things that a woman who loves herself would.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So then what?
Well, so then it became this thing where I was a woman trying to love herself and she was doing things that were reflective of that, right? Like doing the photo shoots and stuff like that. But what I found is a lot of the behaviors that had led to this unhealthy lifestyle, much of my life still were there, eating when I get stressed. Not just getting one donut, but getting two or three, overeating, things like that. Those things would show up and they would show up when my mind was focused on things that weren't good and weren't great. And, I'm sure many people will resonate with this vicious cycle, but like the one thing that was wrong in my life from my perspective was that I was overweight. Mm-hmm. And so I would focus on the one thing that was wrong in my life, which became just such a bigger thing. And then I would be upset that I was overweight. And then I would eat an extra cookie and an extra cupcake. And then I'm upset that I did that. And so it was this cycle of hating myself and doing more behaviors to hate myself further, to then keep it going. So when I started studying manifestation, law of attraction, universal law, and I really, really started to go within and study myself, is when I started to figure out where a lot of this came from. And I started to really see that a lot of the beliefs that I held about my body weren't mine, that they were ideal beauty standards that had been around for years and years and years. And I would even go back and I would ask myself, I remember I was working on kind of like my identity and why I wanted to, why did I always want to be skinny? Like every single birthday, when I blew out that candle since I was a little girl, I wish I was skinny. Every single time until like 36, 37. And like, I asked myself, why do I want that so bad? What is that about? Why do I think that that's such an ideal place to be? And what I realized is it wasn't because I thought I would be healthy and I would live a long life and, be able to live to see great, great, great grandkids. It was because I thought that would make me beautiful. I thought that would make me liked. I thought that would make me successful. I thought I would get more attention. I thought I would be more confident. So I had all of these concepts in my identity riding on the fact that I would be thin. I had to be thin before I would have all of that. And then I just started asking myself, where is there other people, specifically women, that are achieving what I want to achieve that are not in a thin body? And I started re-examining and reevaluating that belief. And so some people, you might refer to it as loosening the model. So I was loosening the current belief system that I had around it. And I started paying attention to other women in beautiful plus size bodies that were achieving what I wanted to achieve. So people like Oprah and Kayla Logan that I just talked about, Meredith Shaw, she is on the Marilyn Dennis Show and Chum 104.5. Super confident, super stylish, teaches you how to style yourself in a curvier plus size body. And I started noticing all of these really successful people in curvier bodies, and even Lizzo, like such a beautiful example too, right? And I started to believe something different. And many people have asked me, okay, so you just decided to be unhealthy? You know, this is something that people say. And my response to that is no. You know what? I decided to stop choosing unhealthy behaviors for unhealthy reasons. And I chose to start to love myself in the body I was in that moment. So what I let go of is the need to lose weight to be successful. And it's no coincidence then, Tommy, that when I let go of that belief, that my business just blew up, because I suddenly started behaving in a confident way. I started believing in myself. I started believing in my worthiness. I started wearing nicer clothes, like finding places to wear clothes that had color in them, not just black. You know, the reason why I wore black for 30 years is because black is slimming. And when you want to be slim, you wear black clothes. Now, I wear black because I think it makes me look luxurious or like a boss.
Yeah.
You know, not because it slims me out, you know? And now I wear color all the time because I love to, you know, the vibrancy of the color of the clothing that I wear is just a reflection of the vibrancy in my energy and the spirit. So when you see me wear more vibrant colors, it's because I want to express myself more. Whereas before I was definitely in hiding. I would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've allowed one of the ways for you to express yourself to be through clothing and like whatever you want to wear. However you want to express yourself with clothing, you're like, I'm gonna wear it. I don't care if it's not black.
Yeah. And it's really beautiful too when you start to shift your belief too, because one of the other things a lot of people ask me, how? Okay, so how did you do that? So when I let go of the belief that I had to be thin in order to achieve success, then I was like, okay, so effective immediately, I can achieve success in this body. So then it was like, okay, so how can I start to love this body then? Like if she's going to be here for a little while, then how can I love her more? So I started doing mirror work where I would pay attention and I would call out things about myself that I love, my appearance. So, you know, I remember the first few times standing in front of a mirror, totally naked, trying to find something that you love about your body. You're like, oh, okay, my hair looks great today and my eyes are beautiful. And like, it just kind of stopped there, right? But over time, I started to say things like, you know what? I love the way my feet look and my ankles look. And like, okay, I love my wrists. My wrists look really great. And then it would move into, okay, I do like my hips. Like I have nice hips. And then it was like, okay, well, my butt is pretty good. Like women, you know, go and have surgery to have a butt like this, you know, and it just started to shift. And I started to things that I used to see as limitations in my body, I started to like really like. And then social media, of course, has started to shift too, because I started to pay attention to and follow more curvy women and curvy fashion. So then I started to see by choice, like I chose to follow these people in these accounts. So I was choosing the suggestion that was going to be filling my subconscious mind every day, right? So I started choosing to see fashionable plus size curvy women. And I started to see parts of them that I was like, wow, she's so beautiful. Her figure has so much shape and the curves and the flow of her body. It's so beautiful. And then the more I saw the beauty in them, the more I started to see the beauty in me. And so then what happens is those thoughts when you look in the mirror of disgust, of gross, you need to lose weight, you need to eat less. I'm so bloated. Like these are all things that used to go through my mind. They're not things that go through anymore because I've trained myself to notice the good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, and how has this all shifted as far as like the feedback that you get from others over the years? Cause I know you definitely like, and even still will get heat sometimes for this. But like in general, like, has it shifted from like a more accepting, like into a more accepting place?
Yeah. It's really, really interesting. There's a few people over the years that have chosen to make me kind of like an example of body positivity gone wrong. I think is what they think about in their minds is that, you know, I'm promoting obesity or I'm promoting unhealthy behaviors and stuff like that, right? And that's just a perception that they hold. And they likely have been taught that in order to be successful, to be loved, to be liked, to be this, to be that, that you need to have healthy habits and that you need to have a thin body. And so they subscribe to that. And the interesting thing is a lot of the times it comes from people who have a little bit of extra weight on their body too, that are in a bit of a curvier body too. So what's actually happening there is some of their own insecurities are reflecting back into me. But I also know, Tommy, the law of cause and effect. And, we are a mirror. So anytime that I have had negative feedback about me and my beliefs and my views on body positivity and self-love and all that, oftentimes it comes in the moments when I'm judging myself.
Yeah, sure.
So I do get judged from others, but I do notice a big correlation between it. It's when I'm getting down on myself. And when I see it, I'm like, oh, you were hard on yourself today, Kathleen. It's time to stop and just, so I haven't had negative feedback in some time. And I really, really believe that people are becoming more accepting of these ideas because, nobody's promoting anything negative. There is no downside to loving yourself more. And what I have now learned, what I have now learned over the past, I would say 2 years and my journey and where I'm at now is that there was a period of time where I was loving myself to become the best of myself. And my body was just kind of staying the same. And my habits were just naturally getting, a little nicer. When I started to really love myself and my body, I stopped wanting to have 3 donuts. Like I stopped emotionally eating as much as I was because there wasn't as many negative emotions to be eating, And so, when I would have or these indulgences or these treats that I would love to have and enjoy, it was just because I was loving life and celebrating. It wasn't to feed a negative emotion within myself. So that was probably the first shift. And then my body kind of stayed the same. But it's just really interesting. You get to a point in your self-love journey where it's like, okay, now I love myself so much and enough to make this body want to last a long time now. Yeah. And so now my journey truly is about taking care of the vessel I'm in for the first time. For much of my life, it's all been about vanity. It's all been about how I look and what other people think of me and if I meet beauty standards or not. And for the first time, I can honestly say that it's not about that. It's truly about me. Just every day, how can I treat my body really well? And so I think that's a beautiful transition and awareness towards self-love. So if you're somebody just listening to this and you're starting to love yourself, don't worry about healthy behaviors and habits. Just right now, focus on loving yourself in the body that you are in now. And as you grow that love, you will grow your desire to want to be kinder and nicer to yourself. And then the rest of your life gets better because the secret sauce in manifestation truly is loving yourself. You need to be a vibrational match to the thing that you desire. And the life that you desire is one where you love yourself. And so you have to start loving yourself and your life right now in order to bring more love and more of that experience into your life going forward.
Yeah. And what I think you said there, just to, make sure everyone's got this, there's such an important distinction between saying like, we're talking about here, we're promoting self-love. Okay. And in promoting self-love, being for self-love, it does not mean we are for unhealthy habits. It does not mean we are for obesity. Yeah. Okay. Or promoting those things. They're different things. So talking about self-love and increasing self-love should have nothing to do with the way your body looks or the state of health it's in. And that's where I think we've gone wrong as a society where we've made, we're putting we're putting self-worth on the state of someone's body.
Oh, Tommy, we could do a whole other episode on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Heavily. And most of the time what people are doing, okay, and this is a dichotomy that I really want you guys to pay attention to. Because most of the time, and most people, and I was one of those most people for many, many years, I was hating myself to try to be a better version of myself. So it's like, I want to be healthy, so I'm going to be super mad and judgy about how I'm being today. I'm going to hate myself. I'm going to despise myself so that I can try to be better. It doesn't work that way because the self-hate is still there even when you have more money, even when you have a better body, even when you have more friends, when you have more vacations, you still don't have the self-love. So for me, I always want us to love ourselves to become the best of ourselves. This is true to me, awakening and true enlightenment. It's like, okay, stop, give yourself some grace for a minute. Stop. What are all the ways right now that you're doing amazing? And then how can we actually allow you to take those strengths and grow even more strengths into the pursuit of whatever it is that you desire? And the other thing I will say too, Tommy, to add to what you just said, is that some people have also thought that I'm saying that being healthy is wrong or that wanting to lose weight is wrong. Right. And I say, if you want to lose weight, I can teach you how. Like I can literally teach you how to change your thinking in order to release weight. I use the word release because if you lose something, you find it. So we want to release it. But the thing of it is that we have to release the self-hate first. We have to release the disgust first. We have to release the limiting beliefs first. We have to release the emotions first that are there. And so we can absolutely do that. But I want you to want to release weight for the right reasons. And so that's, the betterment of your vessel, not to fit a mold or not because you think you need it to be a better person, So that's why for me, let's just love ourselves in the body we are in now. So this affirmation, if you don't use it, highly suggest. I have this on my phone. I am beautiful now. I am beautiful in the body that I am in now. And you can use the word handsome if you'd like as well. But to me, beautiful is for everyone.
Yeah, it's so true because people, like we're not saying, oh, if you want to lose weight, that's not a good goal or that you shouldn't want to do that. No, it's the so that behind it. So I want to release weight so that if that is so that I can be happy or feel better, feel beautiful or whatever, that's what you got to look at. If the so that is because I want to wear this dress and feel like I look great in it, or because I want to be able to run with my kids and not get winded, it's the so that behind it.
Totally. Yeah. I love that, Tommy. That's brilliant.
Yeah. What else about self-love?
Well, I also, not long ago shared a little graphic. Like I see things on social media all the time and I share them because I resonate with them. And when I see them, I think about them in different contexts. So I'm going to read you what I found, but I'm going to put it in this context, why I saved it. So this says here, it's a Chinese proverb, and it says, tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, ooh, that really works for self-love. Because being critical or being judgmental of yourself is who you think you should be. Mm-hmm. But self-love is who you really are. It is our natural state. And so all we're suggesting is that you consider allowing yourself to just shift back into that state. I think about myself as a little girl, and I think about my daughters right now, these beautiful little impressionable ladies. And, they did not think that anything was wrong with them until somebody told them otherwise.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that I was in like a plus size body or overweight until somebody called me fat. Yep. And said it in a negative way too. I mean, you can say you're fat and be super proud of that and just walk on water, but it's the way that the words are used in the judgment. Yeah. And then you keep getting that message. And so any feelings of negativity that you hold for yourself, those are learned. You heard those from somewhere. They are not natural to you, and you can dismiss them just as easily as they created a program in you, right? And so it's really becoming a different version. And the really fun thing is, like, I obviously have a lot of people that want to come and work with me because they want more money. They want their business to grow. They want to create a legacy for their family. And all of that is so lovely and so beautiful. But the first thing they come back and say to me is, oh my gosh, I love myself now. And then all that other stuff comes, and that's one of the most beautiful messages that I get is when somebody who has truly despise themselves for much of their life comes back and says, for the first time, I actually see myself for who I really am, is probably the best testimonial I'll ever get.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think if people approach their growth and personal development in that way, self-love first, because it really is the prerequisite. I mean, you can make some stuff happen in business by like doing goals and things, but none of it's going to be super sustainable without a healthy respect for yourself.
Totally.
At the core.
Well, and I think about what the quest really is for. The quest isn't for more money and a bigger business. The quest is for fulfillment. It's for what you think that's going to give you. And so a truly fulfilled version of myself is somebody who truly loves herself and never has a negative thought. And then guess what? What will happen if I walk around like that? My daughters are just naturally going to learn that. And then their kids are going to learn that. And so, when you love yourself and you do it in such a beautiful, authentic way, everybody around you starts to see it. It becomes contagious. And then you're filled with a life of people who are on the same quest for self-love that you are. It's really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the one last little story too, Tommy, about one of the greatest messages that I ever got. And it was from Angie Tumlinson. And I remember when she first met me, she asked me to come on a Zoom with her. And I said, sure. I'd achieved a lot of success within the coaching business that I was in, and she was in a similar business. And we get onto a Zoom and she said, oh man, Kathleen, you proved me wrong. And I was like, tell me, do tell. What do you mean? What'd I do? And she said, I had this belief that the reason that I wasn't achieving what I wanted to achieve in my business was because of my body and it being plus size. She said, but you just proved me wrong. And I was like, okay, get ready to soar now, girlfriend.
Yep.
And I get that message all the time.
Yeah.
It was just so the good. First one. Yeah.
Okay, Kathleen, do you have a final story or final thought for self-love before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah. So I think the best last thought would be to give you a different type of perspective when it comes to loving yourself. So when I thought that it was just about me, it was like, okay, I'm going to love myself from my own experience. But what ended up happening along the way was I realized just how much loving myself was impacting other people. And so my girls, I started to notice a shift in the way that they talk about themselves, the words that come out of their mouths, but also to be able to be on social media and to be an example to other people who are not happy with themselves and need somebody to be an example for them. I get to do that for people now. So you know how I said I was looking for people that were successful in bigger bodies and they became, an inspiration to me? Now I've become one of those for other people. So what if you can love yourself enough to then be an example to others of self-love and just really step into that next version? So now when I'm faced with adversity, when I'm challenged by a negative thought about myself, I'm like, no, I need to make sure that I am thinking only the best of myself, because there are people that are hating on themselves that really, really can benefit from somebody being super strong and being an example for them. So if you don't do it for yourself, do it for others and the impact that you can make on this world, because it is a beautiful, beautiful place to be in when you're helping others to love themselves more.
Yeah, I love that. I've noticed that. I see that in you. You've helped me in that way, and I'm working on helping other people that way too. So that's so good.
Oh, I love that. And people glow differently when they love themselves. And so a lot of the times people comment and they say, oh my gosh, I've really noticed that you have this glow about you. And I would much rather be complimented about my glow of self-love rather than my weight loss to try to fit in. Right?
Amen.
So, yeah. Amen. And so it is.
Yep. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap this up.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you, Tommy. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. With gratitude, Kathleen
and Tommy.
And remember, the limit does not exist.